Truly African.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the show. Last week, we spent a considerable amount of time on the ambulance case. And even as we did that, we explained that it's a continuing issue. And so all of us knew that we would have to come back to the issue. Well, this week, we have more, not just as a continuation, but, new and fresher information on the same case. We are looking at things like the High Court dismissing applications filed by MP Atu Forsen and Richard Jakpa. There are other allegations that have come up, since we discussed this issue last week. Even today, we have new developments, on this one. So this is one that we'll be looking at. Also, it's political season. Our political players are going to church. I myself was in church with Professor Nano Pukwajiman Tayman, EP, church, when they launched, I think, their 25 years anniversary. Well, Dr. Baumia has been in church too, and in church he brought up this issue of the cathedral, where he said, that the clergy and the government should come together and find a way, to build the cathedral. So interesting conversations ahead. You do not want to miss. Stay with us. Be right back. Welcome back from the break. This is The Couch, the only TV show with a heart. And with me in the studios are my, three wise men. I'll start with lawyer. Hi.
Hello.
Great to have you back.
Three happy wise men.
A little too happy.
Yeah, excited. I've missed the team. I think it's been like 3 weeks.
Yes, we've missed you.
I think there was an occasion where I had to do solo with you.
Yes.
And then I think they were gingered up. I think the next day I had to do a special show. Fortunately, I was nowhere to be found. Then the last week, I think last week they cheated me on. I watched them excellent great show. But obviously, what did you expect?
But we missed you on that show. So today we'll have a greater show.
Yeah, hopefully.
D. Kojo Jackson.
Yes.
Lovely to see you as always.
Always a pleasure to be here, Amma. Yeah. And these government is keeping us busy with lots to talk about.
Lots to talk about.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a pleasure to have you back.
Thank you.
Great to have you here, Kwame.
Thank you, Amma.
Here by here, because you didn't come from, you're right here. So great to have you here, Kwame.
Great to be here.
Our morning show, D. Kwame Wusudan, so, Esquire. Let me start by picking your mind on this one. Some people are complaining, and I see this on Facebook a lot. So people are saying, where is the campaign? The political parties are not campaigning. How do you feel about? Do you think that? I think it's less than 200 days to the main election. In fact, it's less than 190 days. The last time I checked was 187 days. So let's say 186. And this is just me at my lowest of mass as always. But it's just a few days relatively to the main election. Do you think that the political parties are giving us, what they should be giving us at this time? And I'll start with you, Kojo.
Oh, okay. You are right. The observation is accurate. I mean, it seems a bit quieter than we are used to around this time in the run-up to an election. But maybe the reason is also quite obvious. You see, this coming election is historic in a number of ways. The first one is that there are no unknown entities in this election. We've seen John Mahama as president before. Dr. Bawumia is our current vice president. So there are no unknown entities. So it limits the amount of fantasy they can create, believably. Right? We know them and what they have done when we gave them the nation. So if either Bawumia or John Mahama comes to tell you that vote for me and I'll transform Ghana, you know they are lying. So they are not going that way. Instead, it's become a little bit more guarded. You know, it's like when you're watching a boxing, a bout of boxing, and nobody wants to throw all their punches just yet. Everybody is shadow boxing, sparring, trying to assess each other, because to be honest, they can't do things the way they used to. They can't just come and tell us one goat, one man, one goat, one sheep, one this. They can't just come and sell us slogans or promise us buildings, right? We know what they can do and what they can't do. So they have to be nuanced, and they are struggling with it. These two political parties, they struggle with nuance, intellectual nuance. So they are yet to kick all of that into gear. That's why it seems a little bit quiet, which has allowed a space for all the scandals to be popping out of the woodwork.
And we love the scandals.
Oh, we are not complaining.
We are here for it. We are here for it. We are here for it. Kwame.
Well, thank you. Good evening to our viewers. Good evening to my seniors. And good evening to you, Amma. It's always a delight to be here and to share my few cents with our viewers. The observation is correct and accurate. But also, I think it's predicated, again, on what you said, that these are known people that we've known over the period, and whose performances can actually be looked at and judged by all Ghanaians. So the question becomes, what sort of campaigning you want to see, or Ghanaians want to see, because there are different categories and different kinds in political communication or in political strategy, really. People can decide to do P2P, person to person, as Professor John Evans Atanos did in his time. He went to the homes of people, visited people personally, marketplaces, etc. And then you had what Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo did. He mixed both P2P, and then he did a grandiose, kind of campaigning. And so he was literally everywhere, and also organizing the big campaign. So he was seen on platforms. He was in the homes of the people. He was watching with them, eating with them, drinking with them, and essentially making the people feel that, look, I'm one of you. I'm like you. Let's do this together. Give me the chance. Because he was in opposition, it was easier for him to be able to sell that message, right? Now, what is Dr. Bawumia's campaign strategy, and what is John Mahama's campaign strategy? Is there a strategy? What is it? Is there a message? Because in campaigning, your strategy is hinged on your message. And so what message are they putting out there? What is Dr. Bawumia telling us, the Ghanaians? What is Mr. Mahama telling us? Is he campaigning on the back of the things that he has done in the past? Or is he creating a new message to the Ghanaian people, which ostensibly will wipe the things that he's done in the past? Because then if you are giving us 24 hours economy, then it means you are telling us that the things that you've done in the past really should not be that, what's it called? The message or the focal point, really, yes, the focal point that you want to use for the purposes of winning the next elections. So for me, it is a very dicey situation, and which is why it appears that they are not really campaigning. But to be honest, they are campaigning. Former President Mahama has been literally everywhere, You know, he's been in the north, he's been in Savannah region, Volta region, all over the place. But what is the message exactly? What has been the message? What is he selling? Are people receptive to the message? Do they understand it? Do they like it? Is it feasible? These are questions that I believe, you know, we must begin to ask and elicit the right answers from them. Dr. Bawumia equally has been around. I mean, he's been in the eastern region to really see the kind of message that can be carved out, you know, from the office of Dr. Bawumia to be able to sell to the Ghanaian people.
Right.
Now, my suggestion is first of all to the NDC, and permit me. My suggestion is that, given, of course, people love Mahama, okay? I mean, people love him. People may want to see him back and things like that. But I want to suggest that if their strategy can look at building the campaign around their running mate, who is unblemished in terms of leadership, because she has not been in power per se, you know, as a leader in government. And so it will be easier to build the campaign around Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman. I don't know if I'm making sense. Just as Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo at some point built the campaign around Bawumia. If you recall, in 2016, Dr. Bawumia was literally the face of the campaign, you know, because he was everywhere propagating and trumpeting the things that in his estimation at the time the MPP would do for the good people of Ghana. And then they identified one particular area that they thought would resonate with the Ghanaian people, and they used that, you know, to campaign, and then they used that to come in, and that was the economy. So what is the strength of Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman? Who does she appeal to? What message can be carved or couched around her so that that message can also support former President Mahama for the purposes of winning the election? So that's my initial remarks on that. Yeah.
Let's hear you, lawyer.
Viewers, and say that I'm vehemently you poor English people. I'm trying to find a word, but I can't believe that we want to make this election about two people. Alan Chamate is contesting for crying out. So, my brother if I give
you
advice,
take a strong exception
to it, because
everything that has been said here so far.
So, in terms of the
how unfair.
In terms of the principles they are espousing, I agree with the principle. But the characters as in they are put as if they are the only people contested, that one I disagree. It's not a two-horse race. Alan Chamate is contested, and he has that. He is also unblemished. Anyway, so that's, I was going to say that's what I like, but no, that's a serious note.
Right.
Because Alan Chamate is contested, and but you see, I think this election lacks energy. And it lacks energy not because or not for want of what the candidates, especially from the two major parties, are doing. But I think there's no energy from the people of Ghana. And so what this election is lacking is euphoria. And that euphoria is born out of a fundamental loss of trust or belief in the ability of the people who are putting themselves up to be president in delivering real transformation. And that's what is lacking. I think the people of Ghana just figured out they are politicians. They hasn't been found out. So as in you can bring any beautiful message and it won't resonate. As in you can say exactly what you were saying in 2016 and it won't resonate because you've been found out. They've been found out, and I think that's the problem this political season is facing, and for me it's a massive worry because for constitutional democracy to thrive and to succeed, then you need the people to be fired out to it, and only be faithful to it if they believe that or they have confidence in the ability of the system of governance to deliver on these promises. So I think we are, if you ask me, I'm really scared. We are probably on our last chance. If we fail to deliver on the promise of constitutional democracy, and I don't know what. I'm scared about what is going to happen. So we must set up. Our politicians must set up. Their word must be their bond. They must understand that the ethics, the principles, the values of public service is really critical. That when they are given power, when they get power, 2024, whoever becomes president of Ghana, leader of this country, must be very strict on the principles and ethics, ethos, and values of public service. We should not tolerate people in public positions buying public property. You understand? We must not tolerate it. And so many things we must not tolerate, because I'm damn sure that we'll finish. Some people are thinking that we'll go into September and there'll be no energy, because people they believe in the ability of our politicians to deliver on the promise of the system of governance is at an all-time low, and that's scary.
Terribly scary. Terribly scary, because what you don't want is voter apathy. Yeah. You know, that is exactly what you don't want. But let's move ahead. If nobody has anything else to say, let's move ahead.
What Senior said, that I mean, I've engaged a number of young people, and when you speak to them, all they say is, "I've lost confidence in our leaders. I've lost hope." And all the political parties are the same. They will come and deceive you when they get the opportunity, and they come into office. They don't do anything for you. I think governance should be very simple and easy, really, because if you promise the people something, you should be able to at least do half of it for them, And so, I think Senior is extremely correct when he says that people have actually lost confidence, in the whole system,
the whole governance system.
Yeah, and that's accounting, for that as well. Yeah.
System. Yeah.
You notice that there's no message.
Yeah, there's no message.
And this time around, I will not leave out your man. When I say there's no message, I don't actually mean that they are not saying anything. Okay. Everybody is saying something, but it's not. You see, they say the economics of what we do is not in what is produced; it's in what is consumed. Okay, so whatever is being produced by these parties is not being consumed by the electorate. Okay, so John Mahama says, "I'll give you a 24-hour economy." The electorate doesn't actually see what that is. The electorate doesn't quite see how this 24-hour economy means that my yam will be cheaper, that my pepper will be cheaper, my tomatoes, that when I go to the supermarket to buy milk, I won't be told that from the morning to the evening that the price has almost doubled. True. You see, they are not seeing that in the message. When Baumia says digitalization, people hear him and they're like, okay, so digitalization, how are you going to digitalize? You see what people were doing, putting what's it called, Ghana card in bread, and saying, and just demonstrating that the distance between what you are saying and what I'm feeling is too wide, right? And it's the same for Alan.
Great transformational plan.
Yes, the great transformational plan. It sounds wonderful. I listened to him when he explained it. I didn't see myself in it. Because there is a need for the detail, right? And that comes through the campaign, right? When I get the opportunity to hear Alan Chamantin talking about the plan and be questioned on it by journalists, then I will learn where I am in it. I haven't had that opportunity, right? So what it means is that this time around, the message is here, the people are here,
So perhaps we need to hear more around actualization. How do these political parties intend to actualize?
The problem might be
the implementation.
Yes, the problem might actually be that, in all honesty,
they don't know how to
the problem is so bad, they are not quite sure how to solve it. It could well be that as a nation we have been set back so far that nobody is 100% sure how to fix it. I mean, you think about it too. This nation has been sent to the point where nobody will lend us money. We can't borrow from anywhere. We can't pay our bills. We are dipping into people's life savings to fund government. Our city is in a free fall. A horrific free fall. So that people work and make profit but still lose money. I spoke to Guta, and he was telling me that, look, people are not restocking. So we are literally a month away from shortages. our problems. Look, the nation is in a precarious. We are just on the verge of seeing Shaggy. And the truth is that nobody is quite sure what the solution is. And because now the electorate is smarter than they were the last time, so you can't come and tell them a lie. You can't come and pretend, oh, we'll do this, when we know it won't work. Right? So they are preferring to stay quiet because they don't have a solution. Look, the cedi, which I would say is the biggest problem for our economy right now, the depreciation of the cedi. MPP's deputy finance minister says, wait, when Bawumia is elected, he will solve the problem. Bawumia is the head of the economic management team today. The person speaking was the deputy finance minister, telling Ghanaians that I don't know the solution. I've been appointed by the president to be deputy finance minister, but I can't solve the problem. So I'm waiting. If you elect Bawumia, he will solve the problem. Now, that's bad enough. In any other part of the world, such a comment, such a statement, there's a ripple effect, right? Because why is the cedi losing value? It's because the dollar is scarce. Why is the dollar scarce? Because people are hoarding it. People are not making it available. So you can't find it anywhere. Now, why are people hoarding it? Because they believe that it will continue to gain value. So they are keeping it. And if the deputy finance minister says, actually, there won't be a solution between now and 7 January.
People hoard more.
Of course they will hoard more. So immediately, they have made the trader poorer.
Yeah.
Right? Just from the words that came out of his mouth, he's made us poorer. And it's not just him. Now we say, okay, who's the alternative? And forgive me, I'm doing the binary thing here again. Forgive me. Who is the alternative? NDC. Okay, what is their solution? They say, oh, vote for us and we'll come and do dialogue. We'll come and have national dialogue. That is a clear indication that they don't know the answer either. You see? So, as a speculator or someone holding dollars, or someone in Nima with dollars in my room, hearing these two saying these things, I know that the smart move is to keep my dollars. So the cedi will devalue even more. You see, they don't know how to solve the problem.
Still scary.
Very. I think last week, a bag of onion was selling for 600 Ghana cedis. Now, it's selling for 1,000 and something Ghana cedis. One bag.
1 week. 1 week.
One bag. Tomato, one, is selling for 5 Ghana cedis. One. So it is, I mean, Kojo's description of this horrendous situation, if it doesn't send some shivers down your spine, I don't know what would. Because clearly where we are now, we are in some deep abyss, and it's dangerous. And that is why people are finding it very difficult to tell us exactly what they can do for us. You see, and I also I agree with Kojo 100% when he says that now the Ghanaian voter is extremely wise. And so it is not enough that you come and tell them that I will arrest the cedi and put the key in whoever's pocket. How are you going to do that is the question. You see, how do you intend, if you say 24-hour economy, how are you going to do that? What is it that you are going to do that will ensure that this 24-hour economy will serve the interests of the Ghanaian people? Ultimately, it's bread and butter issue. The France uprising was in respect of bread and butter matter. So, if societies would change, what brings about societal change and political dynamics is not by reason of pontification of some extreme things that in your mind you can execute, but the realistic things that people, the tangible things that people can actually feel and deal with. Those are the things that matter. This year, I don't know if you guys have observed, I've not seen 2024 registered cars. Because when there's money in the system, you see it. Oh no, seriously, when there's money in the system, you see it. People will be buying cars left, right, center. I was talking to a friend of mine, I said, Kwame, now, when I hear ring on my car, I'll go and fix it because I don't have money to buy any new car. So the small car that I have, that's what I'm maintaining. So if there's no money in the system, back in the day, I mean, if you don't have money, you can call on your friend, you know, at least something small for you to get by. You can get it. But right now, they won't even pick your call because they know why you are calling. And it's not their fault because their businesses are struggling. You see, and again, we created this mess. And I'll be very, very honest. I mean, most people will disagree with me on this one. But you see, the banking sector, the collapse of the banking sector, for me, was the genesis of all these problems. Because you see, Ghana, our economy is built on the middle class. Whether you like it or not, it's the middle class that sustains the economy. Now we've created a system where it's either you are rich or you are poor. And that is the Rwandan problem. And they are trying to fix it. So when you don't have a middle class, when the middle class is eroded by reason of some unrealistic policy implementation, this is what you get. Now people are struggling, like it is crazy.
But here's what, right? Here's what, for me, what it means now is that the Ghanaian is not looking for politics for beautification, we are not looking to politics for entertainment, which it used to be. It used to be the situation where we all get excited about politics because this is the time when you are entertained. People will say things, people will do things, and you are sitting back and enjoying the process.
Immemorial. No serious country can survive without deliberately building a private sector. And this is not about being a capitalist or being a socialist, or no country survives without deliberately building. Because if you take
China,
because if you take a system, I always ask myself, so Ghana, are we a capitalist country or we a socialist country? Because when you take indicators, as in the interest rates, the size of the private sector, it's as if we are socialists. Because no private sector can be built on an interest rate regime
40%
of over 10%. It's not possible. Oh. Now we've run a system where there are about 500,000 politicians. You see, when you take the MPP, take the NDC, when they add their members, the card-bearing members together, they are no more than 500,000. We have 500,000, 600,000. Now you've built a country where we don't have a private sector. Because all the private sector are the big, very, very big corporations, the big banks, the big mining companies, but we don't have a viable SME. Yes, we don't. And no government has taken the deliberate step to build the SME. So you take the huge, so there's very little private sector generated contracts beyond the contract, or absolutely no recourse for merit. We've not built any sustainable, or we don't value principles. Yes, and so as in this country, it does not benefit you to be principled, to be good. So, and that's how we run the country for over a generation. And that system is coming to an end. Albeit in a very traumatic, but it's coming to an end. Now, for me, there will be a natural progression, or nature itself, it will force us to build that private sector, because that's the way. As in where we are now, because right now governments, like you rightly said, nobody will lend us money. Nobody. So right now, whichever government will come in, whoever will become president, must find a way of attracting private equity capital into the system. Nobody will give you, even if you go to Russia, I don't give you money. If you go to China, I don't give you money. If you nobody will give you money. So then you have to find a way. So all these, and that's why I'm sad with how we funded the 5G issue, because those kinds of projects or financing model is what is likely going to happen if we are going to survive going into the next, as in after 2024. We need a lot of PPPs, a lot of private-public partnership deals.
I'm calmly disagreeing with you.
I understand, but what I'm saying, where we are right now.
Calmly, not vehemently, but calmly disagreeing with you.
I understand, but if, like, and I agree with you on all fronts, if you put ourselves in a situation where we can't go to the international market, nobody will lend you money. So government practically does not have, well, right now, the only money available to government is people's treasury bills. Short term. When that one also doesn't work,
bonds.
You understand?
The bonds have been removed.
You understand? So
let's not even mention treasury bills that anybody takes either.
So then, so how is government going to get money to undertake the project that it needs to? Meanwhile, we haven't built our infrastructure, so there's so much government needs to do. I'm saying that the only means right now is for government to find a way of getting private sector or private capital into huge infrastructural development, and that will be through the PPP. And that's why I was thinking that with this 5G issue, it was an opportunity for us to consolidate the procedure to be used in transactions of such nature. And I think we've missed an opportunity. But having said that, I think that's the way nature itself, or the system itself, will force us to go. And for me, that's the positive. So we are going to get a situation where the private sector is going to rise. And where private sector rises, they force government to do the right thing. I always use the Florida example, where Disney forced their governor, DeSantis, opposed the DeSantis on some policy, and DeSantis had to succumb to Disney's position. Because you see, when the private sector don't allow you to, well, they're in control, you need the money to survive. Right. They don't allow you to put in place policies that will mess up the whole system for everybody. So for me, that's the positive that I see. The question is how we are going to survive between now and when. That's how we are going to survive. And that's why, and the people of Ghana maybe don't understand the technicalism of it, but clearly they understand that, listen, the public sector has failed. They understand that there's no money.
It's sad. It's sad.
This is the country.
It's sad.
This is Kwame Nkrumah's Ghana.
It's terrible.
This is Yaa Santua's Ghana.
Right.
The country that did things nobody thought possible. The country that people sent. Lee Kuan Yew came here to learn the Ghana way. Today, our president goes to South Korea. South Korea went back for money. I hear they've given them $2 billion to come and do projects. So now South Korea is going to tell us what to do with the money. What projects to South Korea. Ghana Pani.
It's terrible.
We've lost it. And we have been sent back. Look, Kenufuyata.
It's horrible. It's horrible. And you see, I'm saying calmly disagree because you see, when we speak about the failure of the public sector, we are not talking about intrinsically what the public sector is. We are talking about mismanagement. So for me, the conversation should be about the opposite of mismanagement for the public sector. I think we'll be making headway as against, because we are mismanaging the sector, let's not look to the private sector. I'm
not saying that. No, they do that.
That's what I'm saying. I'm calmly disagreeing. I understand the fundamentals of what you're saying, but I'm saying that, underneath all of that, for me, because even in this next instance of us selling hotels, the conversation around it has not been that,
it's not a viable entity.
No.
So
it's been about mismanagement of the situation.
A well-managed public sector is not a substitute for the private sector.
I know that. That's why I keep saying that I'm calmly disagreeing. I'm calmly disagreeing because for me, I think that, as against what you think about public sector, the private sector, I think the public sector can be just as viable. I think that it's been tried in other places, it's been successful, ideally, and call me naive, call me idealistic, call me, it can work.
No. So
for me, it's more natural. It's a more natural solution to a problem than the private sector.
So what I'm saying has nothing to do with us. So what I'm saying is that, and I'm talking about the facts, it's not about that, whether we like it or not, we are at a situation where there's no money available for the public sector to undertake so many projects that they need to undertake. When we mentioned South Korea, and I agree with you, because when we had independence, there were three major countries: Ghana, Singapore, South Korea. So they asked people, among these three nations, which one do you think is going to succeed? And they all mentioned Ghana. You understand? Now South Korea and Singapore have done very well. Now how did they do it? Now they did it by the public sector. So government
Public sector investing in private sector,
fiscal policy to build private sector. And how do they do it? They didn't do it by just handing them money. In fact, in most cases, the public builds the company itself, maybe in collaboration with the private sector. And then at some point, the government then hands over or sells over to the private sector. Indeed, even in America, powerful America, the country we all feel is the doyen of capitalism. They did it the way South Korea did it. They just didn't say, oh, private sector, and then they took a laissez-faire. No. What America did was government deliberately, sometimes putting their money, build up industry,
created billionaires.
Yes.
And then the billionaires became the economy.
So those billionaires, never forget, constitute just about a percentage of the population.
It's not about them. It's about the hundreds of thousands of people
who get employed through the
yes. In some cases, millions. An entire industry can be created by one billionaire. You see, instead of government, for example, you take cocoa. Look at what we are doing with cocoa, right? Government wants to manage cocoa. Government will buy all the cocoa and then go and sell it for some coins. And then go and take loans. That is the whole interest of government here, right? If cocoa was being done privately, it would be done for profit.
Yeah.
So the person who is growing the cocoa understands the value of what he's growing.
Yeah.
He knows that the whole world's chocolate comes from what he's doing.
Yeah.
He will negotiate better terms.
Exactly.
He will create better mechanized operations, and he will certainly not waste money.
And then
no, you can't never replace the private sector and the public sector. The public sector needs to be well managed, but no matter how well you manage it, you still need the private sector.
Just to say that, and with your cocoa example, if it's government handling it, the concentration is different. It's not profit. The concentration is different.
That's the problem.
For me, that's not a problem. For me, that's not been a great thing. If the concentration,
that's the reason why we are producing half of all the cocoa in the world. Yet
hold on. The concentration for a sector like agriculture, for me, first of all, should be feeding the people. Number one, not profits. Because we know of instances where countries are resourced, they have natural resources that do not benefit the people of the country. While individuals, that 1%, enjoy those natural, and I'm stressing on natural resources at the detriment of the whole. So for me, resources should be at the center. Always at the center. Profit second, never first. Never first.
You can't put that kind of responsibility on any government and expect them to succeed.
Well, the point of governance is to the welfare of the people.
The point of governance.
The welfare of the people, that your people are fed, your people are sheltered, your people are clothed, your people live dignified lives.
The point of governance is not to do
dignified
business.
Lives.
The point of governance is not to do business. The point of governance is not to employ people. The point of governance is to give people the opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
That's the point of governance. So you can't arrogate all of that responsibility to a government run by some one or two people. That is the same thing you are talking about.
So let's agree to
be someone we are paying. It is someone we are paying who will be taking advantage of the resources.
How about we dedicate one show to this?
Yeah, we should.
Let's dedicate one show to this conversation. It's a meaty conversation. It's one that. But let's go straight into court. Let's leave Pan African TV. Let's go straight into court. High Court dismisses applications filed by Atufo and Richard, Jakpa. Others, cross-examination of third accused to proceed. Did you see this coming? Back to natural. I thought that once all of us were up in arms about, a flawed process, the superintendent of justice of the land has been caught with his hand in the cookie jar. You would think that naturally, then of course, the next step would be to strike out because the system is flawed or the process is flawed. But no, the court says no. I'll start with you. Well, actually, two lawyers. Which of the lawyers do I start? Let me start with you.
But how? I don't see the flaw in the process. Honestly speaking, I stand to be corrected because not once did they raise any issue about the procedure in the court. Not once has anybody raised an issue about how the judge herself has handled issues. Indeed, it's my personal view about even the AG. I listened to the what's it called, the tip, And not once did I hear the AG say that, listen, go and say this, and let's find a way of falsely incriminating, what's it called, the minority. The issue I had with the AG was when Jakpa was making his allegations, and that's why yesterday I called on him to resign. When Jakpa
called on who to resign?
The AG.
The AG. Okay.
I think he should resign, and I'm not saying he should resign because I think he's committed a crime, but as in when you look at the bigger picture, so when you look at the bigger picture, the
public interest, greater good.
Exactly. I think he'll serve Ghana and himself so much good if he resigns, based on everything. But I think that the AG slagged, as when Jakpa was saying what was making those allegations, I was surprised that he did not tell Jakpa clearly that, listen, I don't want you to do ABS, because the judge had already done his case. You see, you need to understand how criminal procedure works. It's not like your civil procedure. For criminal procedure, you the AG, you prosecute your case. At that stage, unlike let's say civil procedure where all parties are supposed to put forward their case, there's no obligation on the defense to put up their case, because we should remember that the standard and burden of proof 100% is on the prosecution. So per the process, you the accused, you don't need to say anything beyond I'm not guilty or I'm guilty. Once you say you are guilty, matter ends. If you say you are not guilty, then there's a burden placed on the prosecution to prove your guilt. So yeah, so how they do it is that, so you the prosecution, you make your case against the accused, and when you close your case, the judge needs to make a determination that based on the evidence you've put in front of the court, whether or not the accused have a case to answer. That the prosecution has already done that, unless I'm mistaken. So what I'm concerned, the prosecution has already
closed his case.
He's closed his case. So all these issues arising.
Has the prosecution closed?
Yes.
Yes.
Jakpa has opened his
defense. Case has already.
I think there was even an application for submission of no case,
and
it was dismissed.
Because per the criminal procedure, when the prosecution finishes the case, then there's a burden on you, to then open your case. That is, if the judge decides that there's a case for you to answer. Also, we need to understand that we need to understand the plea bargain regime in this country. You understand? The plea bargain regime isn't. I've heard commentaries. People keep on saying that the accused, you need to plead guilty, and that's just one form of plea bargain in the Courts Act. Now, when you read because Ghana until 2022 didn't have a very comprehensive plea bargain regime. Because if you go to the very developed countries, or developed legal systems, the Attorney General has so much power in terms of plea bargain, even to decide that, listen, for you, let me use you. If I just want you are not criminal. Let's say you have committed an offense, but your role, let's say he's a high profile person, but I will need you because you have done this with him. And then if you give evidence, it will be as it will seal. He come back and say, listen, I need you to give evidence against Kwame, and then when you do that, we are making a deal. I'll drop my charges against you. That's why I read section 122, 122 of 162 of the Criminal Procedure Code as amended in 2022, and the plea bargain regime in this country has been expanded to include all that. So right from the I didn't see the arguments there. Then this were making when they said the AG wants to imprison cases out of force. Also, why did he even start the prosecution in the first place? Because when you start prosecuting somebody, then you believe that you are going to succeed. You get a picture. So for me, where the AG head was in the ethical what's called burden on him, and how he handled that burden. And
Mekki? Was it Mekki?
Obviously, because if somebody has called you or you've called a person, which is already unethical, and then the person is making such serious allegations against you, I think that I'm sure maybe he thought that it was a friendly discussion, and so he lost guard some more. But for me, tell him clearly that, listen, I don't need you to say ABN, in fact, that's not because it was when you listen to the conversation internally, after everything was said and done, they told that the reason why I'm calling you is because I won't be in the jurisdiction at the next agenda. You understand? So kindly find, which I found also very, also in a way illegal, because you know you are not saying, go and find a medical report and get but beyond that, so it's just, and that's why you was talking about trap. That's what the was talking about traps. Japan is people being very smart and thinking on their feet and setting a trap for poor AG when that call came. But you see, because of the position of the AG, the fact that he's Minister of Justice, then the issue as it can be handled or seen lightly as being just one of people setting traps for you. At the end of the day, what all this has done is to further deepen our lack of belief in the ability of a justice delivery system to deliver justice. Yes, and because of that, and beyond that, when you take everything into consideration, the letters that Japa themselves wrote, chasing the AG for plea back and all, I'm speaking, I don't doubt the integrity of the AG in this matter. However, the way he's handled himself, the way the making it of, and then I think he will serve the good of everybody in this country. He will serve the good of the justice the delivery system if he resigned. And I'm sure that was what the judge meant when he asked him, when he advised him to recuse himself from the matter. But as to whether we are going to succeed with the application to get it, there was no way it was going to work. How was it going to work? Yes, and that was it. So far, I've not seen anything in the process, in the procedure, that will suggest that there's going to be a miscarriage of justice.
Well, one of them thinks so. One of them thinks that his continued presence and involvement in the case would somehow jeopardize, the outcome.
No, not miscarriage, but
and so has advised that he.
No. If you listen to it before the judge, it's not about the ability, as in the chances of justice being miscarried, but it's about the perception. Because right now, because you see, when you give judgment, it's not about just giving a judgment and. Because if one of the first weeks in law school, I don't know if you had the same experience or yourself, because you have done, you are a lawyer in waiting. All of us, everybody, my so what the first thing they tell us is that some of the law students will become judges. The focus isn't just to deliver justice, but there is a burden on you to also create that perception that justice is being
must be seen to have been done.
Fantastic. So justice should be, but it must manifestly be seen to be done. So what the judge was saying was not about her lack of ability to deliver justice only because justice done to the AG. No, but she will struggle to give justice, which will manifestly be seen by the AG still being in the matter. And if she's unable to do that, then the focus of the justice delivery system has not been met, because the burden on them is not just to deliver justice. The burden on them is to deliver, or the burden on them is to manifestly be seen to be delivering justice. So if you, the AG, just by your mere presence and this tip, is going to undermine her ability to do that, or the justice delivery system,
the essence,
exactly.
The essence of the process,
then you, the AG, you'll be doing all of us a service. Yes, I understand. I'm sure he's there, and he's both. And Governor is a fine lawyer. He's a sharp lawyer. He had built a very credible practice outside of politics. And then for some of us, it's sad that all his hard work potentially could be undermined by this. But for the end of the whole, or for the benefit of the whole, I think
I'll let Kwame come in and then you. Yeah. Kwame.
Okay, so my senior finds nothing wrong with the conversation which ensued between the Attorney General.
Something wrong.
Okay. No, because you in your analysis you sought to suggest that you think the AG erred when he failed to alert Mr. Jakpa or rather correct him? Okay.
First of all, to meet the burden on him to speak to Jakpesula first, seek permission.
Okay. So because that didn't come out clearly, because I was actually going to say that.
Thank you for your prompt.
To say that it is not a matter, and you lift the veil if you find that there's something wrong. That is when you lift that veil, because you have a burden as a lawyer, okay, and as somebody who is supposed to ensure that justice is delivered equitably and fairly, to conduct yourself in a manner that finds expression in the rules which govern your practice. So to begin with, I think that is what I pontificated last time on this show, that it was wrong for the Attorney General to have had a conversation with a client who was represented. And the argument then became, was he represented, was he not represented? And I think it has been established over time that indeed at the time when the call was placed by the Attorney General to Mr. Jakpa had a representation. So that alone in itself is a violation of the rules which governs our practice, and therefore any other subsequent things, things which ensued for me, is dealt with, or is immaterial really? Is immaterial at this stage, because you have actually breached the first rule, which is to not engage a client if the client is so represented. And you see, the issue of plea bargaining, senior is right, it's been expanded, right? But one of them also, and he speaks about the fact that you have to, there can be that negotiation between the prosecution and the accused person in the event that there's a big fish that they want to, Now, the question then becomes, what was the motive? Because you see, if you breach a code and then you go ahead to have a conversation which purports to bring, or which in you okay, so let me take it again. You breach a code for the purposes of ensuring that you secure evidence or procure evidence against one of the parties in the case. Then it's no longer about whether or not there's that plea bargain conversation. Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah. So on the basis of that, there was no plea bargaining at all. Then the conversation was not even about plea bargaining. Because if you want plea bargaining, you need to have a conversation with the client, the lawyer, and then you agree on the terms. Yeah. You have not done all of that. And then you go ahead to initiate a conversation with the client who was well represented and asking the client to do X, Y, Z. On the basis of that, you have, respectfully, you have erred. And you have violated the rules. And the rules are clear. You must be dealt with, right? Now, as to whether or not that, and see that there was the issue of admissibility of that into evidence. Yes. I think the rules are quite clear on admissibility of evidence. That if the evidence has probative value, or the probative value of the evidence outweighs prejudice or illegally obtained evidence. Now, was it illegally or improperly obtained? It's a question of law which the courts must determine. I don't want to go into that, but I think that the rules are clear on that. That generally those types of evidence is inadmissible. However, we know that per case law and subsequent adjudication of matters, that if it is in the interest of the public, they have this principle in the US, I've forgotten, something root, the something fruit, the fruit of the poison. Yes, fruit of the poison tree. So it's more like a public policy against the law. Okay, and now we know that the case has taken a public policy twist or public interest twist. Now, so the determination must be made whether the public policy twist will be an unruly horse in determining the matter. That is also something that must be determined by the court. I cannot sit here to determine. So a lot of factors will go into whether or not even that evidence which has been admitted by the court will be useful in the determination of the matter, and whether it will have a bearing on the outcome of the case. The court will determine that.
Right.
Now, let's go to the issue of the mistrial. They made an application for a mistrial. What is a mistrial? A mistrial is you applying to the court and requesting for dismissing the application for a mistrial, right? But I've also told you the basis for the application of a mistrial. So, I mean, this, and if you read further into mistrial and things like that, it says that it's a discretionary authority, sort of, you know. And so the judge sitting on the case, looking at all the facts, looking at all the factors, will determine whether or not, you know, it is meritorious, and they have to grant same. So it is, once it's discretionary, the court can determine that, I mean, you know, it doesn't, the court is not going to grant that, because the Attorney General has been impugned. His credibility, reputation, and his practice, his integrity really, you know, has been impugned. All right, and that is actually very fundamental to whether or not justice will be delivered fairly. Because if you are saying that the Attorney General has violated the rules or the code of conduct which governs our practice, and by reason of that, you are saying that he should recuse himself, you are advising that he should recuse himself, it means you believe that his continuous stay or presence in the case has the potency of shaping public opinion about the outcome of the decision of the court. Then it stands to reason that you should have actually ruled on that and given an order in that respect. Okay. The court didn't do that.
So public is against constitutional. So
essentially what they are saying is that there is no statute provision that warrants a mistrial. That warrants a mistrial. Oh, my lawyers, please. I don't know. I said we should go to the courtroom. No, I know you're not arguing.
I want you to expand on that. You're making a good point. Let me just expand on that for a minute.
I wanted us to come out of the courtrum at this point. Okay, lawyer, please. But you don't mind a few minutes for lawyer too. I'm learning a lot too.
That's a very great
submission.
I was just saying that. So an issue as a flowing from what you were saying. So where does public interest stand as against a constitutional
statute provisions?
Not statute, constitutional. Because the Constitution, the Attorney General is the only person given the authority to prosecute to initiate prosecution. So then the issue becomes: so is it that the Godfred Dame per se, because we should know that,
or the office,
because in the special prosecution prosecutor, in the case of the special prosecutor, I think the same constitutional hurdle needed to be cleared, and so if you consider how the statute was made, it's like the Attorney General giving or delegating his powers to the SP. So in the light of what the judge is saying,
it's supreme.
And
that's a big one.
The Constitution.
I agree.
That's a big one.
I agree on that. I agree on that. But to conclude, so that Mr. Yankson will come in.
Mr. Yankson.
The Yankson.
My family disagrees with you. My title.
Mr. Yankson.
So I mean, so that, and then touching on the application by the third accused person, Richard Jakpa, asking the court to strike out the charges filed against him, the High Court held that for a case that has traveled to this point, where the last accused person, Richard Jakpa, has opened his defense and is being cross-examined, it will not be in the interest of justice and the public interest for the case not to be brought to its logical conclusion. To that, an application is made, and I agree entirely with the judge, because you see, it is not. I think we are creating the impression that the Attorney General's office is Godfred Dame. It is a department. It is an office occupied by Godfred Dame. So yes, Godfred Dame may have issues in relation to how he has violated the rules, but the office that he occupies still is operational, and therefore the office can appoint another prosecutor to carry on with the matter, especially so when you, like Senior said, you have the prosecution has closed its case. Now, there was an application for submission of no case by the lawyers of Mr. Jakpa and Dr. Atuforsen. A submission of no case essentially is to say that the prosecution has not been able to prove each and every element of the offense, okay, and that they have no evidence to support what it is that they are bringing before the court. The court will evaluate that and come to a conclusion, if the court determines that there's a case to answer, which means that the prosecution has been able to discharge its obligation to the court by establishing that you have a case or a question to answer, then the wheel will shift to the defense to also what, to open their defense, okay, to defend themselves.
Right.
That process has concluded. They have opened their defense, and I agree entirely with the judge when he says that for the purposes of ensuring that the matter is dispensed with properly, we need to allow for the whole process to terminate, and then a determination will be made whether or not the allegations which were made of the recordings, the recording that was made, for which reason you are applying to the court to say that there's no case, will assist or aid the court in arriving at its decision. So I agree with the court entirely on this one.
Right. A lot of legal education. I said we should go to court, and I said we should come out of court, right? Let's come out of court. Thank you,
but just to add, Dr.
Dame
is a fantastic, and he's one of the people that we all look up to. To be honest with you, I really do like him personally. Yeah. So this is just it.
Just to say that.
Yeah.
Okay. So one, there's the issue of the court dismissing the mistrial application. The court says, listen, we don't have any statute provisions to hold on to, for which reason we'll miss. Even as senior, all of us are senior here, educators, that it goes beyond statute provisions. It goes to the essence of the Constitution itself.
Absolutely.
So it's bigger than that. There's nothing upon which we can say there's a mistrial, or we are granting this request. So there's that. But then after that, we hear one of them advise and say that, well, I'm advising, take it or leave it, but would you please move away from this process? Which then also brings me to this issue of the ways of the Constitution, not in its letter, but in its spirit. In its spirit. Kojo, what do you make of all this?
You want us to come out of the courtroom?
Yes.
Because I'm not a lawyer.
Both of us. The two of us. Kojo.
No, look, this is a matter that has really given me the opportunity to test a lot of my training as a journalist. A few years ago, I was a fellow at the School of Journalism of Washington and Lee University in the United States. A great opportunity. And I remember one of the first things that I learned in a seminar, cui bono. Cui bono. And the lawyers are nodding quietly to themselves.
Yes.
Who benefits? It is the cornerstone of good journalistic work. Whatever story you hear, whatever information you receive, whatever answer you are given to your question, first question you ask is, who benefits? Whose interest is being served by what you are being told? Right? It's a very important thing that a journalist must get clear in his mind. Because my job, so help me God, is to make sure that nobody deceives the public. Certainly not through me. Right? So cui bono? Who benefits? What's happening? The Attorney General is prosecuting some people. He says they committed some crimes, so he's prosecuting them. The case has been going on for some time. Suddenly, something happens in court, and the case spills out into the public domain. Somebody makes an accusation against the Attorney General. That if you keep pushing me, I'm going to tell everybody how you've been calling me at odd hours, trying to get me to implicate another person in this case, another accused person in this case. There are tapes. I can prove it. This matter now leaves the courtroom and comes in the public domain. That's the first problem. Because if we want to avoid being misinformed, we should have taken our cue from what happened in the courtroom. When this outburst happened in court, what did the judge say? What did the judge do? Did the judge say that this case has now been compromised because someone has accused the prosecutor of wrongdoing? Did the judge say that? If the judge didn't say that, then we should all educate ourselves that whatever was said in the courtroom did not compromise the prosecutor. Now, I'm not a lawyer, but I'm happy to be corrected if I get it wrong at any point. The judge is presiding over the administration of justice in her courtroom. Something has happened. It didn't end the case. It didn't result in some ruling that changed the course of the case. Nothing happened. They adjourned to resume as usual at the next sitting. But we in the public decided that something has gone wrong in court. We decided. So we started interrogating. Hey, who said what? Who told who to lie? What's going on? Where's the tape? Because we decided something was wrong. Now, why did we make that decision? It's because of how we were told, how we were informed of what happened in court. That's why we in the public decided that there's something wrong. So how were we informed? How were we informed? Well, we were played a tape, weren't we? Yeah. Yes. We were played a tape by the NDC. Cui bono. The NDC played us a tape and told us what the tape means. You remember, their chairman, Johnson Asidun Ketia, will play small and then come and give commentaries more. Then go and play small, come and give commentaries more. He told us what we were listening to. And he, according to him, we were listening to the Attorney General telling a witness to lie. Right? Then we heard the witness too on the tape saying that, oh, but if I do this thing you are telling me to do, then I'll be dishonest. So we hear the NDC chairman telling us he's telling him to lie. We hear the person on the tape saying, if I do that, I'll be dishonest. We put those two together and say, yes, the Attorney General told him to lie. Even though if you listen to the tape 200 times, you will never hear the Attorney General telling anybody to lie. But we convinced ourselves. In fact, at the beginning of this discussion, Amma said he has been caught with his hand in the cookie jar. Where's the cookie? Where's the jar?
There's a big cookie jar right there. It's blue. It's blue like my jacket.
Exhibit A.
There's a big cookie jar here, Kojo. How can you not see the cookie jar?
This is the message that was sold to us.
No, Kojo, I listened to the tape.
That the man
take out. No, be fair to me. Take out General Sidon Ketia's commentary. Take it out. I still listen to the tape. I still listen to the tape, and I think I can make inferences for myself what is being said and what is not being said.
Lawyer that is going to allow me to make my point. Is that why?
That's your cue to go to law school.
Is that why? you, I'll pick forms. Okay. So we were presented with the information in a certain way, and we are not all lawyers. We're not. So we heard it the way it was presented. It made sense to us the way it was presented. We were told that he's asked someone to lie, and it made sense to us. But we have to understand that the first person to hear that accusation was the judge in the case. Please, what did the judge say about it? Did the judge make any ruling based on that accusation? Did the judge feel that this accusation requires investigation? It requires some kind of... All the man said was that this prosecutor wants me to say things his way. But is that not the point of a court case? Is it not that look, in this room, in this conversation, two lawyers presented their perspective of the case. It wasn't the same on every point. But does that mean that one of them was lying? Is that what it means? So if Kwame says, I want lawyer Apia to see it my way, does it mean Kwame is asking lawyer to lie? Is that what it means? So with this simple demonstration, can we now look back at what we were told? It was Jakpa who said it will make him dishonest. But who made Jakpa the prefect of honesty? That if he says something is dishonest, then it's dishonest. Who gave him that job? And why are we all accepting his version of things? We never heard what the Attorney General asked him to do. So why did we decide that Jakpa is telling the truth? The man who recorded the conversation and in the conversation told the person he's recording that I'm not recording you. He is the one we believe. Why? So I'm saying let us all take a step back and ask, cui bono? Look, the NDC, it is in their interest to ensure that by the time we all go to the ballot box, nobody in their party has been successfully prosecuted for corruption. It's in their interest.
The reverse. How about the reverse? In terms of who benefits, how about the reverse? It's in the interest. It will then be in the interest of the NPP to make sure that by the time they go to the polls, some people within the NDC would have been convicted.
If the NPP
so I mean, it works both ways.
Except that if the NPP had brought us a tip, then we could have had this conversation and said they benefit. But it's the NDC that brought us the tip with an interpreter.
The NPP is doing the prosecution, Kojo.
No,
It works. But
no.
well,
As for the
see, back to Meki. Yeah, back to Meki.
As for the prosecution,
Meki.
you can never say
Meki.
that a prosecutor is wrong for prosecuting.
No, you
can't. You can never say that. He will either win his case or lose it. But the reason why he is bringing a case is because he believes wrong has been done. So you can't say that he's wrong for prosecuting Atoforsen.
Nobody has said
no.
that.
If he loses the case, he's lost because he wasn't able to prove his case. But you don't say he's wrong for doing that. So as for the cui bono, I'm sticking with the person who came to give me a tip, who came to tell me a story. That's who I'm sticking with. Why did he come and tell me this story? That's what my journalistic training tells me to do. Why did he come and tell me this story? He is interested in ensuring that nobody is prosecuted successfully for corruption in his party. Sure. Besides that, the Attorney General has completed his case. Let's not forget what lawyer said. He has finished making his case. So and Atoforsen has finished making his case too. So Atoforsen's ability to affect the outcome has come to an end. At best, he can cross-examine Jakpa. That's really the best he can do at this point. So what is plan B? If my ability to affect the outcome in court is limited, what's plan B? To affect the outcome in the eyes of the public. So that no matter what happens in court, the public will always believe that I'm not corrupt. That's plan B. So how do I achieve that? Well, I have to tell the public a story that they will buy. And I have just the right ingredients for it. I have this conversation in which Jakpa says things that sound as if the Attorney General was asking him to lie. I can sell this. Especially if I do my communication correctly and I pause at the right places to come and give my version. Yeah, I can sell this. I can sell it to the point where intelligent people, completely educated, smart people who assess everything on the face. Who are deep enough to analyze things will believe me and believe that the Attorney General has his hand in a cookie jar.
The blue cookie jar.
Thank you. The blue cookie jar.
The Chelsea cookie jar.
Yeah. So I refer you again to Exhibit A.
Proper lawyer.
You see, let's all take a step back and understand. Somebody gets something out of this. Somebody gets something out of this. So let's approach it with our eyes open one more time. Then the big one, where it's as if the Attorney General was suborning perjury, telling the man that go for a sick note. Now, I'll first make my point, then I'll tell you what the judge said about it. So what's my point? If the man was not sick, and the Attorney General told him to go for a sick note to come and lie to the court that he's sick, that's a big problem. That's a very big problem. That would be the perjury. Anna, yes. If Japa was sick, and the Attorney General asked him to go for a sick note, is that a crime? Okay. Do we know whether or not Japa was sick? I don't. I mean, it is Japa's version of events that we have all decided to go with. So did we hear him say, I'm not sick, and you want me to go for what's it called? A sick note? Did we hear him say that? I'll tell you what I heard. You can certainly contradict me if I'm wrong. What I heard him say was, hey, the last time I went for a sick note, even though I was in hospital fighting for my life, this judge issued a bench warrant for me. You want me to go and incur displeasure again? I beg you. This one day I can't. To which the Attorney General said, okay. Now, we didn't hear him say in the conversation that they decided to share with us, because we are told that the conversation lasted 26 minutes, but we were given the benefit of some 16 minutes of it. Okay. So we don't know if at any point, maybe at the beginning when he called, and this is me, I'm making an assumption here, I don't know for a fact. Maybe at the beginning of the call, when he called, oh, hi, Japa, how are you? I'm not well, I'm a bit sick, but I'm on my way to, wherever. Okay, well, I called because of this. Then the conversation starts. Then at the end of it, he says, so the reason why I called, look, I want you to, buy us some time, so I'll be there when you are making your argument. So please, go for a sick note. Would that still be a problem? Okay.
Yes.
So, I might wouldn't. Just take the lawyer's word for it that it would be a problem.
It doesn't have to be legal. I've always expressed this issue about overboard.
No, whether or not someone has broken the law will always be a legal matter. Whether or not someone has broken the law,
I wish my Attorney General wouldn't do that.
A legal matter.
I wish my Attorney General wouldn't do that.
You wish your Attorney General wouldn't do his job?
No, wouldn't do that.
No, how can you say you wish the Attorney General wouldn't do his job? I'm sorry.
I never said that, Kojo. I said I wish he wouldn't do that.
What you just asking the guy to go for a
yes, I wish he wouldn't do that. I wish he wouldn't do that.
If the guy is sick and he asked him to go for a sick note, what's your problem with that?
Even if he's sick, I wish he wouldn't do that.
Why?
Can you
Team Japa?
No, we are all here for justice, Kojo.
So anyway, let me go.
We are all here for justice.
So, in the light of the same principle, then the judge to surely advise and allow the Attorney General to take a decision.
Thank you. and that's where I want to actually. Thank you for bringing us there. Thank you. That's where I want to wrap.
Oh, so that's Team Attorney General now.
We should allow the court to take a decision.
Look. Let me wrap up with this, okay? So. These are a few headlines. This is my journal line story, so I can trust this one. AG Japa tape. There's no basis to allow inquiry into Godfrey Dame's conduct. That's what the judge said. Please, let me repeat it.
Okay.
The judge in the case, the judge, the one who is administering justice, says that there's no basis to allow an inquiry into Godfrey Dame's conduct. Not me saying it. Okay. What's the detail? Accra High Court has stated that the demand for an inquiry into Attorney General's conduct in the ongoing ambulance case has no basis. The decision is part of 4 separate rulings issued by the court today. It follows numerous applications filed by first and third accused persons, blah, blah, blah. This is the part that is important. On the issue of an inquiry into the allegations of calls from the Attorney General at odd hours. That is what Jakpa accused him of. Calls at odd hours, and submitted the tape we have all heard as evidence, calling for an inquiry. Justice Ifeasewa Asariboche determined that the request has no legal backing. So it is not down to what we think, how we feel, how it sounds. The question of whether or not the Attorney General has broken the law is a legal question. And the judge in the case says there's no legal basis to look into his conduct. Now, this is the beauty of the law. You can hear 2 intelligent lawyers argue 2 sides of this. And they will each have convincing points. But in the end, the person whose responsibility it is to ensure that justice is served for 2 accused persons, the second accused has been excused. Discharged, thank you. The one in whose bosom the fate of 2 innocent until proven guilty people lie. That person says there is no legal basis. Now that person could have ordered, is a judge, she's a judge, she could have ordered the Attorney General to recuse himself. Am I wrong? She could have. Did she? She didn't. She advised, and she gave a good reason. She said, look, just so that we can maintain people's trust in the justice system, my advice to you would be recuse yourself from this case. Okay. And I mean, Kwame made that very important point of distinguishing between the Attorney General and his office, right? So that if the Attorney General himself or Godfrey Dame himself is asked to recuse himself from the case, it's not the office of the Attorney General that is being asked to recuse itself. However, what would be the effect? What would be the effect? Any other person who would replace him would be acting on his instructions anyway. He would still be the one prosecuting the case. It's just that the words will not be coming out of his mouth, but it will still be his words, still his office that he runs. Which is why I suspect, lawyer thinks that it might have been better for him to resign. Yeah. But you see, for me, he's faced with 2 options here. One of them is to resign and say that, okay, the thing you over me, it's got to the point where even though I haven't committed any crime, these people have sold such a good story to the public that right now it looks like my hand is in the cookie jar. Blue cookie jar. Right? So at this point, look, I give up. You guys do whatever you do. Bring someone else to be Attorney General and continue your lives. Or option B, I know that this is happening only because these people stand to benefit. Either by frustrating the case or by ensuring that the public don't trust anything that comes out of this. You know what? I know that in this case, I have not done anything wrong. I'm going to continue. After all, I'm not barred from prosecuting it. The judge advised me. I can take the judge's advice or I cannot. I will not. I will prosecute this case. And if I win, then everybody knows that even the judge advised me that I shouldn't. But even the judge couldn't dismiss the strength of my argument. So if I won, I must have won fairly. Those are the two options available to him. Now, I don't want to break privilege, so I won't tell you what I believe, what decision I believe he will take. But he has been advised to recuse himself. He still has the option of not recusing himself. The only thing I will say is that from this point onwards, let's ask ourselves, cui bono? For every bit of information that comes from this case, let's ask ourselves, cui bono? Who is selling us a bill of goods? And why are we buying it?
Thank you. Thank you. We only have just about 2 minutes to wrap up the show. You know, oh, seriously, we do have just about 2 minutes to wrap up the show. Wow. So 2 seconds each, 1 second each, you know. You could decide to change topics and go straight to the cathedral, which is also quite topical at this point.
It's unless you can, unless you follow her powers.
I think maybe this week we should discuss the cathedral. However, I just want to say that I find it very disrespectful to the good people of Ghana and to God that we continuously find some pastors advance arguments which does not find expression in logic, always belching unnecessary support from their nostrils without necessarily appreciating
what?
belching.
Thank you. I'm from Ifrada.
Their nostrils.
I'm belching. I'm from Ifrada.
You know, and because you see, I'm reading something here. I'm reading something here, and I'm sure when you read, you may even feel words that I'm feeling now. That the person you see, and even the religiosity attached to it is what even upsets me the more. I'm ending. So let me just read this and end it. The man said that speaking at a meeting between the clergy and the vice president as part of his tour of the Greater Accra region on Tuesday, June 4, Apostle Amwakwata said, "Your Excellency, may be prophetically the reason why that hole is still there is because God wants you to fulfill it." Then he continues to say, quote, "It is going to be so prophetic that once upon a time, a temple was built, and the president who dedicated a temple for the Christians was a Muslim."
Okay, but it could also very well be a tongue-in-cheek comment. So let me go further from where you left the comment. Let me go further. Let me go further.
Issues for what they are.
Right, but let me go further from where you left. It says the Freedom Chapel International Ministry Apostle urged the new Patriotic Party (NPP) flag bearer to do everything within your power, together with the team, to bring the church and the government together, and if possible, hand over the project to a private entity for management. This way it gets interesting. Give it to a private man. Let them build it. Let them collect the money. It's going to be an indictment for Christianity and for this government to leave this bigger hole as it is forever. This is why I suspect that perhaps it's
no. You see, there's no sarcasm.
I tend to agree with you.
It probably is
That it was Baumia who built it.
He's literally saying that, listen, there's a huge big hole. He actually calls it a bigger hole, which is an indictment on your presidency. You better fill it up. Essentially, is what he's saying.
Well, I don't see it that way, and I've expressed myself the way I see fit.
We don't have a lot of time.
You see, whichever way you look at it, there's a big hole. There's a big hole, which is the most expensive about the fantastic failure.
Can I just I know we are ending. Can I just remind us all that the reason why that big hole is there is because one guy told God that if you do something, do me a favor, I'll build you a cathedral. One guy said
it's become an albatross.
What he didn't say, you see, and it's almost like you are trying to swindle God.
Oh, no, he's
because you didn't tell God that you use my money. to go and fulfill this your unilateral. I was going to say unilateral wet dream, but I'll say unilateral dream.
No, add the wet.
No,
You had a problem because the hole is very wet.
All right,
you didn't tell God that, as far as we are aware, $50-something million of government money is what has gone into it. The church hasn't done a thing. This same church that can use one harvest to buy private jet.
Yeah.
This same church that is now prophetically calling on a Muslim to come and complete the cathedral for the prophetic fulfillment of Christianity. This same church, if the pastor wants new Rolls Royce, he knows what to do to raise that money in the church, and he will buy his new Rolls Royce, one for his wife, one for his side chick. They are able to do all these things, but they can't raise money to build a cathedral. They want government to do it, so they are calling on the government to come and take my money again, to come and build your church for you, give it to private person, because it will be an indictment on Christianity. So what? So what?
But you see, the thing for me is that with this one, whether it's built or not built, we've lost out.
See,
at this point, we are worse off, for this whole.
We're discussing the lack of energy in the campaign. And you see, Kojo was being very nice and very diplomatic. Kojo Narado didn't try to swindle God. Narado has swindled God. He swindled God. I don't know who said that.
No. You know when you were talking, that was running through my mind was familiar spirit.
Spirit would give Narado the cockroach audacity to swindle God. Except swindle the people of God. He said he was going to protect the public purse. He told as I was going to protect the public purse. And the land has value. I think the land there will cost more than 3-4 million.
My goodness, we even demolished,
accommodation for judges. Judges
accommodation were demolished for this.
Narado has swindled God. You understand? He did not try to swindle God. He knew, he deliberately, intentionally. Without
motive, opportunity, preparation,
he swindled
intention, knowledge,
guilty mind. Then he swindled the people of Ghana. He swindled all of us. He swindled his party, the New Patriotic Party. You understand? Exercised a very clean spirit for the party. And filled the party with familiar spirit.
Okay, gentlemen.